When do you feel like you are most truly yourself? That's really what this psalm is today. We'll be looking at Psalm 101. And the question that the psalm is raising, its wisdom literature. I'll share the psalm with you in just a moment. But really the question of like, how do we keep on that straight and narrow? How do we show up in the world in the way that we truly are? Right? In Hebrew, we talk about the toho kaboro, the inside like the outside. That there's no veil. That it's just like you show up, and that is who you are, and that is how you are. And I think that there's in so much beauty in that. Um, so that's really the question. That's really the challenge. And as you'll see, that is where the psalmist is going today. Also letting us know where you're from and a blessing you want to share with the community. That's always nice, always welcome. Okay, so I like what I'm seeing here, right? Living through kindness, living by values, doing tzedakah, charity work, right? Showing up in the ways that we feel most ourselves is something that we strive to do, but maybe sometimes it's not easy to do because of external barriers or because maybe of the company we keep, or maybe we don't feel safe or we feel too vulnerable to show up truly as we are. But that is the invitation here. So I'm going to go ahead and start the text study, and then we'll move into our meditation. Right. I've shared it with you in the chat, and then hopefully Wendy can repost that for you as we go along if people have questions. Okay, so we're looking at Psalm 101, 101, which is absolutely fantastic because we have only 150 Psalms. So that means we're more toward the end, right? Closer to the end than when we started maybe like 4 years ago. All right, so Le David Mizmor. I want to start with this. Of David. Le David Mizmor. Of David. Usually or often the Psalms start Mizmor Le David. So what does it mean that it's starting Le David Mizmor? So some of the commentaries say often the author King David was studying or sorry, when he was composing these psalms, he would start with the I think I just got it wrong. Start with the psalm itself. The words themselves would bring him into this reverie and to a closeness with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But in some cases, he started with a sense of focus and meditation, and the meditation itself opens up into the closeness. And I think that for a lot of us, that's kind of like maybe the more normal or accessible experience. For him, like he was always like in a state of shefa, like it was flowing all the time. But one question we can have for ourselves is, how do we get into that shefa? How do we move into that flow? For most of us, it's finding that keva. It's finding that time during the week, during the day, a set practice. And the more you practice, right, kind of going into a place of stillness and meditation and study and focus, like calming the sensory, the nervous system, right? From that place, we can open into a sense of revelation, of connection, of closeness. So you kind of have to find out for yourself, like, what's your starting point? Are you already in the music and the music brings you higher, or maybe you need to do something to get you into the music and then the music gets you higher. The music meaning, the text, the psalm, the flow, whatever that is for you. Okay, so that's LeDavid Mizmor. And he opens up here, Chesed u'mishpat ashira lecha Adonai azamera. I love this word azamera. So he says, I will chant a hymn to you, God. I will chant, and I will chant a hymn to you. So chanting, that's the Mizmor. Chesed u'mishpat. I will sing of faithfulness, of justice. Chesed is also love. Chesed is also love. Okay, mishpat is a a sense of justice, like the song we're singing here, is bringing together the integration of chesed and mishpat, of love and justice, right? We see those maybe as two opposite sides of the spectrum, and in the sfirot and the Kabbalistic kind of emanations or divine attributions, usually Tiferet is the one that brings them together. We're looking at a life of integration where we're not like here and then we're here, right? We're not this way and then we're this way. Bringing all of the who we are into center and into focus and showing up each day with the fullness of who we are. That's the prayer, right? That's the question that we could raise for ourselves today. Ashira lecha, I will sing to you. Now I want to focus on something really beautiful that's a little bit off topic, but also completely always on topic. And I want to share this with you because I studied it yesterday with one of my teachers, in the sense I've read many of his books. It is my son's teacher, or has been for the past 2 years, in Israel. And his name is David Aaron, and he's a accomplished author, rabbi. He's written a lot about love. And yesterday when I was in a class with him, he was talking about what are the barriers to serving God? What are the barriers to feeling a closeness with God? That we often feel like there's this transcendent out there God. Like here, we're talking in this psalm. I'm going to sing to you, oh God. I'm going to sing to you, oh God. I'm just trying to get through my first cup of coffee and sing anything. Like you want me to already just jump into connection with divine? Well, what does he say? Every time you come across a name of God, like Yod He Vav He, or a name of God that is feels maybe a little bit external to you, right? In the moment, Elohim. I mean, most of the names of God we encounter just various attributes of God, right? God is God. You can't really fully get to know God, right? But what if we swapped out this name here, okay? Because in most of the Psalms, we have the name of God, right? This Yod He Vav He, which we kind of shorten to Yud Yud, and that's God. If you swap out, instead of saying master of the universe, you could use one of these beautiful attributions. How about love of the universe? How about may the blessed one of the universe, which feels maybe pretty good for some people, to say the blessed love of the universe. To say, instead of master of the universe, right? Love of the universe. Instead of the holy one, the loved one, the ever-flowing love of universe. Okay, I'm offering that to you because I'm conscious of it. One, because I've been told, but also because I get it and I feel this way too, right? How do you access in these Psalms and our meditations? We're meditating here, right? But we do use the springboard of the Psalms, to get us somewhere. But if the language of the Psalms feels alienating because you're not connecting with the God, let's say, of King David, how do you make this spirit word work for you? So the suggestion is to use attributions such as love of the universe, the justice of the universe, right? The flow, right? Like water, or like God is a rock, the solidity, the trustfulness. Finding your way into these Psalms through language that is also God language, but are the ways in which we feel that sense of flow working through us. Okay, so with a bit of a sidebar, but it was really kind of like the foundation, right, of everything that we're doing when we look in the book of Psalms, or when we're looking at scripture, we're looking at sacred text. Right? There should never be a moment where we're feeling, I don't want to say there should never be. I say there are often moments when we feel maybe we're not getting it. So my suggestion is to switch maybe a word. That's an absolutely wonderful operative word, such as love, right? The understanding, the wisdom of the universe, which is a good one for us because in this psalm, the author is asking for, direction to understand, to be a maskil, to live through life, to walk through life, understanding oneself, to understand what we need to remain in balance. What do we need to remain authentic? How do we stay true to who we are, even when we feel there are people out there trying to get us off balance? There are people out there getting us off our mark, right? Maybe you're in a staff meeting, right? And you just kind of like feel triggered and like you start saying things that like you didn't need to say that, right? Because you weren't in the flow. You weren't being a maskil. You weren't being true to your authenticity in that moment, which is to live with that integrity of the outside and the inside. Right? Sometimes the externals kind of like whoop, push us off balance. How do we find ourselves in this world, walking step by step through life, whether we're at home, whether we're outside, whether in meditation, or whether we're in conversation, whether we're playing and having fun, or whether we're in work? How do we find ourselves truly who we are with guidance and with our own sense of authenticity and showing up fully in the world? So this all comes from these the exercise is thinking about how we want to be, and coming out of the words of this psalm. I will study the way of the tamim. The psalm says to study the way of the tamim. The tamim are the pure of heart. The tamim are those who are the inside or like the outside. The tamim have that sense of direction, whether they're sitting at home completely undisturbed, all right, or out in the world, like on the, New York subway and like finding their way through. There's a through line of being in the world. That is a sense of rising above and a sense of settling deep within. That is all tamim. Tamim. Tamim is pure. It's translated that way. Tamim is blameless. But as we're getting to like Passover, Tam is one of the four children, the wise, the wicked, the simple, right? The one who doesn't know how to ask. Tam, there's a simplicity, meaning maybe uncomplicated in the sense, oh, we got someone on my source sheet here. I'm gonna stop this share. Okay. So a sense of feeling wherever we are, right, that we can find our way back to a sense of homeness. Okay. So we're going to take that into the meditation. This idea of tamim, of finding our through line of uncomplicated, in the sense that it's completely and wholly connected to love, completely and wholly connected to each other, to our highest version and sense of self that we aspire toward. So if you haven't already, let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. Taking a few moments here to connect to your breath and check in with, where are you right now? Who are you? Where are you? Not the deepest questions, not the deepest version, just checking in. Who's showing up here right now? Showing up here. Invitation, a very gentle and loving invitation to show up authentically, integrated, whole. Sense that we're all welcome here. And all parts of us are part of who we are. An invitation to be present, whatever it is we're feeling. With an invitation to be guided toward wholeness, loving flow, presence. To guide us through these next few minutes. As we settle into a guided meditation, allowing the upper body to sit up a little straighter if you're seated. Dropping your awareness into your heart space. Just to notice that purity of heart that is always there. Allowing the tension to melt away. Head floating over neck. Feeling your way into a gentle tether between heaven and earth. Feet connected to the ground. In stillness, we reflect on the desire to live with integrity, to cultivate wholeheartedness and clarity. I invite you to set the intention to align your actions with your values, an invitation to tread authentically with purpose. The psalmist says, I will commit to living with honesty, choosing a path of justice and kindness. In a world of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of how we want to be. Let's set our intention to be willing to choose today how we want to show up. I choose the experience of peace within. An invitation today to pay attention to our inner world, the way we acutely pay attention to the outer world. Maybe even committing to pay a little more attention to our inner world. I choose to bring authenticity, grounding, kindness, and respect, whether I'm at home or out and about. I will not allow negativity or harm to root in my mind. An invitation today to choose to let go of what pulls us away from wholeness. I choose today to seek balance and harmony on the path toward peace and strength. See yourself walking through the day, sitting in your home, or however you find yourself in your activities today. Guided by a commitment of choice to show up with integrity, authenticity, wholeness, connection, peace, and wisdom. Take one more deep inhale here. Exhale. I'm sealing our practice today by placing hand over heart and hand over hand, including with the word of peace, wholeness, healing, integrity, connection. The greatest word of all, shalom, together 3 times. Shalom. 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 And when you're ready, opening eyes if they've been closed, wiggling fingers and toes. as we rejoin our space. This concludes our meditation for today. Thank you for joining.